Hi grade 5s, welcome to another recorded math lesson. Today's title is Symmetry. Our learning intentions and success criteria are: I am learning to describe and analyze the position and motion of shapes so that I can identify, describe, and perform a transformation of a shape or object. I'll know I have it when I can identify, perform, and continue a symmetrical shape. Okay, so you guys have probably heard about symmetry a lot before. I know it's definitely something that you do in grade 4. So just a few reminders here. A line of symmetry is the imaginary line that passes through the center of an object or the center of a shape and divides it into identical halves. So I put imaginary in brackets because sometimes that line is imaginary, but today we're going to be actually drawing it and actually seeing it with our own eyes. So it won't be imaginary today. Okay, then a line of reflection is very, very similar to a line of symmetry. It's the line that passes exactly halfway between the points of a shape and the matching points of that shape's reflection. So a line of symmetry would be something a little bit more like this. So that line would be the line of symmetry on this triangle. And a line of reflection would typically be more like this, and then we would have another triangle right here. Now that's not always the case, but that's kind of the easiest way to differentiate between the two. Okay, so moving on. So I'm going to get you to pause the video for a moment when I'm done and think about where the line of symmetry, or maybe there's even more than one line of symmetry, could go on each one of these shapes. Okay, so take a minute, pause the video, and think about that. Okay, so let's start with shape A. So there's actually a couple different lines of symmetry for this one. One of them being this right here. One of them being this right here. Another one goes through here. And forgive me because obviously I am just doing this free-handed. I'm not using a ruler. So they're not perfect, but you can get the idea. Okay, there's also another one that goes this way. All right, so those are all separate lines of symmetry. If you were to fold that shape in half along any one of those lines, the shape would match up completely. Okay, all right. Letter B as well has a couple. So one of them is going this way. You could fold it in half along that line and it would be the same on both sides. It would be touching, it would be matching, okay? Then the other one is also right down the middle here, okay? Again, you could fold it in half and it would be matching. And then lastly, C has only one line of symmetry, and that is going this way. And again, if you were to fold that one in half, going along that line of symmetry, the ends would all match up. Okay, the next thing that you're going to have to do on your worksheet today is identify some lines of symmetry and tell me whether or not they are in fact lines of symmetry. So this says, tell whether the dotted line on each shape is a line of symmetry, right, yes or no. Okay, so let's start with A. And I'm actually going to get you to pause the video again here and just think about the answer to each one of them before I tell you what it is. Okay, so take a minute and pause. Okay, awesome. So we're going to look at shape A, and hopefully you came to the conclusion that this is not a line of symmetry because there's too much space on this side and not enough space on this side. And if you were to fold that along that line, you would have one side that was way longer than the other. Okay? B is a line of symmetry. This side and this side would match up perfectly if you folded along this line right here. Okay, so no, this one is not, and yes, this one is. Okay, C, hopefully you saw that that's also a line of symmetry. If you were to fold it right along this line right here, these two corners would match up with each other, these two corners would match up with each other, and these two corners would match up with each other. Okay, and then lastly, D is also a line of symmetry. Once again, if you were to fold it right along this line, the shape would match up with each side. Okay. The last thing that you're going to be asked to do on your worksheet today is to reflect the following lines in the line of reflection. Okay, and then the line of reflection will almost become a line of symmetry because it will be in between two sides that if you folded them together, they would match up perfectly. Okay, so you don't have to do this one perfectly. If you want to use a ruler, that might be a good idea. I don't have a ruler with me, so I'm just going to do my very best to keep it really, really neat. Okay, and the important thing to remember is I want to go sorry, I can't speak today. I want it to look as similar to the first side as the second side does. Or I want the first side and the second side to look very similar. Okay, hopefully that made sense. Miss Hensey's kind of mumbling a little bit now. So this wouldn't be a very good representation of a line of reflection that I've drawn here, because this side here is quite a bit shorter than this side here. Okay, so that's not a good one. So I'm going to try again. I'm going to pull it down that looks about right there, and then there. Okay, so now I have drawn a line of reflection that it's a good one. It's very close. It's as close as I could get it just doing it freehand. Okay, on the next one, this one's a little bit trickier because there's a bit of a space right here, and you might not be sure what to do with that. So let me just explain that if there's a bit of a space, then you have to keep the space again on the other side. So we're going to start right about there. Okay, and let's see, this might be a trickier one, and I want to make it as nice as I can. Okay, that one's all right. I'm going to tweak it just a little bit. Okay, so that goes about right there. I want it to be more like a square turned on its side. Okay, so that one still looks a little bit squishy, but I'm going to leave that. I'm okay with that. Yours doesn't have to be perfect, like I said. Okay, and then one more example here. Again, our line of symmetry, this one is going from top to bottom or vertically, so our reflection would flip the other way this time. So that looks about how long it is, up to how tall it is, and like that. Okay, so again, it's not perfect, but it's pretty close. Looks like I tried. Okay, so your worksheet today is called Symmetry. It's on Google Classroom, and it is due tomorrow.